Hello ladies and gentlemen. Today I'd like to talk to you about latest iPhones and maybe try to convince you that you in fact don't need to buy brand new iPhones every year, especially if it's an iPhone XR or XR. Also have quite a bit of critique for top tech YouTubers who are, in my opinion, doing quite a bit of disservice to all of us. So let's just start. So first things first, let's quickly address some of my concerns about top tech YouTubers. So from the latest announcements of iPhones, latest phones, XS, especially XR phone, some of your probably most beloved tech YouTubers made videos such as iPhone XR, no need to panic, or small step up, something like this. MKBHD, Techno Buffalo, Jonathan Morrison, Everything Apple Pro. All of them, I think, doing us quite a bit of disservice because they're not really critiquing Apple pretty much at all. I think Techno Buffalo made a bit of critique video, but I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough because really the phones are, especially XR, is pretty shit. It's pretty shit. People who did quite a bit of like a good job is Linus, definitely Unbox Therapy, Max Tech also reviewed XR in particular and actually pointed at the flaws of those phones. So kudos to those three people, but a lot of people, a lot of tech YouTubers, reviewers, they think that XR is a good phone for some reason, just because it has a notch now apparently. Also, I wanted to point out something very funny, in my opinion. So there's this website called TechRadar, and when they were reviewing iPhone 7 Plus, back it says 2018, but obviously it's not 2018. Very expensive, as you can see on the screen if you in fact watch it as a video right now. Very expensive, this phone. Let me just pull something here. Back in whatever year, 2016 I guess, 16 probably, iPhone 7 Plus was released. It was $770 and it had two cameras. iPhone 8 was $800 and it had two cameras. iPhone XR right now is $750 and it doesn't have two cameras. So again, $770, two cameras, very expensive. What do the same people, granted not the same person, but the same website, TechRadar, says about iPhone XR? Lower price tag of $750, which was just $20 more expensive than the phone that they deemed themselves very expensive. Just think about it. In just a few years, with this introduction of 10 lineup, Apple convinced all of us, and which is even worse, it convinced all the tech YouTubers and people who actually influence buying decisions of another people, of like family members and friends and whatnot. Apple convinced that phone going from very expensive to lower price tag. So suddenly it's not against this phone that it's $750, and in Europe I don't even want to go and check how much it costs because it's probably like bonkers, like €850 or something like this, because of course taxes and everything. So again, iPhone XR, the same price basically as 7 Plus phone or 8 Plus phone, almost like an 8 Plus phone, but you don't have second camera anymore. You could have gotten two cameras at $770. Now you have to spend at least $1,000. So Apple convinced a lot of people that now $750 is a budget model. Do you remember the times when they were selling iPhone SE? I think it started like at $450 or something. Do you know what? Apple is run right now by super efficient managers. Now they don't want to sell phones for $450, $500. No, now they want to sell phones that cost $1,000. They probably saw that, oh, okay, iPhone 10 is actually selling pretty well, despite the high price tag. But not good enough, because we also said that that year we also released iPhone 8 and 8 Plus, which were with lower price tags, started at 17, I think. Yeah, iPhone 8 started at 700, sorry. And again, at 800 you could have gotten 2 cameras, which for some people who, I don't know, like to shoot some photos, a lot of photos on their phones, was a good deal. This year you don't have this deal anymore, and very few people in the tech community, in the review community, actually talk about it. I don't understand why. I really do not understand why you give Apple so much leeway, basically, for their greediness. I really do not understand this. Okay, that's one issue. Let's go and talk about separate issue, the phones themselves. So first of all, let's quickly address some specs. We're not talking about price. Price is insane. Obviously, it's insane. Again, until people actually stop buying their phones, Apple will screw you over and over again, basically, because you allow them. The only thing you can do in a free society, in a free market, is vote with your money. Show Apple that their price options are ridiculous, and that you don't want to do this. And especially what pisses me off is, again, top tech YouTubers who suggest that iPhone XR is a good option. I'm very pleased that not all of them are on the same page about this. But again, a lot of them suggest that, oh, you don't need to go and spend $1,000. No, you can buy XR and actually spend $750 and get a good phone. No, you will not get good phone. Because first of all, the screen is shit, no matter how many people will tell you. It's not even 1080p. It's 2018 right now, people. 2018. Not 1998. The phone costs $750. Do not buy it if it doesn't even end. Mind you, I would understand if this is resolution of a phone with like 4.5, 5-inch screen. But it's a 1 inch or something like that. Whatever it is. Something like that. 6.1, yeah, definitely. 6.1 inch screen. That is just not enough. The screen is not bad, obviously. It's an IPS panel. It's good colors, all of this stuff. Resolution is shit. And they removed 3D touch. If you don't have 3D touch, yeah, I can understand this, but it's a great technology. Okay, let me just show you something. You're typing something. You make some mistake. You hard press your phone on the keyboard, and the keyboard becomes trackpad. You can go to the exact position in your message and just replace some letters. It's an amazing little feature, very underrated. But when I'm using iPad, for example, I very much miss this feature. Yeah, on an iPad you can do the same kind of thing, but even this particular one is already something worth having. Let's go and take a look at another feature. Let's take a look at something very, very special, that you can preview links by just hard click into them, basically. And then you can actually decide quickly. You don't, for example, if you're browsing something and you don't want to open this link right now, but the link, I don't know, shows you something, oh, there's probably some interesting article will be there. You can hard press there and open it in the background. And you will have the background tab opened in Safari for you already. You can preview some stuff before opening stuff. One of interesting stuff when you're listening podcasts, for example, in the podcast player. For example, people linked like some stuff into show notes, right? You can quickly load and actually take a look. What is there? You don't need to be redirected to Safari. 3D Touch is amazing technology. And guess what? This phone, iPhone XR, it's the thickest phone of all of them that actually have 3D Touch. Take a look. 8.3 millimeters. No 3D Touch. 7.7 on 10 models. Which is, by the way, 7.7 is more than on iPhone 6s Plus, which was I think 7.3. Just a little note. So iPhone XR, whole millimeter thicker than 6s Plus model, or 7 I think was the same 7 Plus models. It's the whole millimeter thicker, but no 3D Touch and lower resolution display. Do not buy it. Just from pure specs, just don't buy this phone. It's a rip-off. It's a total rip-off. If you want a phone right now, just buy like a 7 Plus or 8 Plus, or even use 10, because it's probably gonna be the same money, like $750 probably. You can find them, or maybe refurbished or something like that. Don't incentivize Apple to do what they're doing, to rip you off, basically, give you worse product than they could have actually. And yeah, just don't do this. Simple as that. Another thing, as you can see from this picture, it's a picture of iPhone 8 Plus, 7 Plus, 6 Plus. They were the same size basically. You can see that iPhone 10 is iPhone 10s Max apparently, especially, sorry. It's quite a big phone. Do you know what Apple is doing in this year? On 10, not in this year, on 10 they did this last year. Now they're moving the control center from bottom corner, where you could have actually accessed it and used the whole phone with one hand only, right? You could have this great gestures. You could have, even with reachability, you could have some notifications, swiping gesture going from up. But now what they've done is they've moved this amazing control center, which was at the bottom. They couldn't figure out how to make like this home thing gesture work that they have now. And so they moved it right up here. Here on the right side, obviously that's a 6 Plus phone, not 10 phone, but control center right now is on this very right side. So basically it's impossible to use this phone with one hand. Now, I have pretty big hands, as you can see, even compared to a Plus model, my hand is pretty big. But since I'm like a pinky gripper, because I don't want my phone to just slip somewhere, I'm always holding it like this. I can easily use this phone with one hand. But even right now, I cannot for my life reach this corner up top, so I need to use reachability. But now, one thing is that you need to like check your notifications, wherever, who cares about this. But another is if you need to basically use reachability just to get to control center. It's a total disaster from the usability standpoint. And Apple was known for their usability, great user experience for years. Because when the Jobs was still alive, and maybe a few years after his death, people still cared about it at Apple. Now they don't. Now all they care about is money, money, money. And so again, this is the size of 6 Plus, 7 Plus, 8 Plus, etc. And this is the same size as 10s, basically. But now everything here will be screen. And so you would have really, really big struggles to get to the top right corner. And again, because Apple don't care right now, because all of their basically team of engineers and Ive and all of this CEOs, they're old fucks basically. I'm sorry for swearing like this, but they're all fucks. They need giant fonts. They use their fonts with 2 fingers, two hands basically. They don't care about usability anymore. And so again, if I'm with really big hands guy struggle to manage navigation, basically one-hand navigation on plus size phones, forget about it on XS Max phones. Because again, Apple don't think about usability anymore. Which is super sad because Apple was known, and actually this notification center was one of main things that I liked so much about iOS when compared to Android phones, for example, because Android always had notifications and control center up top, and I always hated it. And what do you know? Apple is closer and closer to Android in ways where it shouldn't be closer, actually. That's another thing. That's another thing that Apple is doing wrong, and so I would strongly advise people to not incentivize them with their purchases. Don't buy XS now. Don't buy a XS Max now. Buy something like iPhone 7, or if you have iPhone 7 or 8, don't update. You don't need to. The phones are running okay. Like, they're probably running great. If my 6S phone runs decent enough, 7, 8 phones, they're definitely way up there, performance-wise. Granted on iOS 12, because iOS 11 was pure shit. If you're still running iOS 11 or even 10, update to iOS 12, it's gonna be way better. But again, Apple don't care about this anymore. About usability, about user experience. I mean, again, just to show you giant middle finger, right? iPhone XR has portrait mode with advanced bokeh and depth control, right? With depth control. Guess what phone does not have depth control? iPhone X. But we all thought that all this portrait mode things and all of this cool stuff was simply thanks to dual cameras on iOS 10, right? Because you see, like on iPhone 8, there was no portrait mode. On Plus model, there was portrait mode. So Apple explained it, oh yeah, you need 2 cameras, right? So kind of give us more money. Now, they give you the same portrait mode with depth control on a new phone with 1 camera, because iPhone XR has only 1 camera. But iPhone X with 2 cameras, right? It probably can do this advanced bokeh depth control. It probably can do all of that, because I'm sorry, even iPhone 7 Plus could do it with like $5 application that had all of these controls. Apple is not innovating here. Literally like $5 app could do it already for years. And now, just to, I don't know, piece all of this iPhone X users, or yeah, it's just a middle finger. But the double middle finger is to iPhone XR buyers, because you can do this advanced bokeh and depth control, but only on people. Only on people. Just don't incentivize Apple to do what they're doing. They're showing middle fingers left and right. Left and right. Do you remember the time when they removed headphone jack from the phones? And they explained it as water resistant, all of this stuff. Well, guess what? There is a phone called Galaxy Note 9, right? It has everything. It has water resistance and it has 3.5mm jack. So what Apple told us was pure bullshit, because apparently you can make phones with water resistance and 3.5 jack. Why did they do it? Because they wanted to sell you AirPods for $160 bucks in the United States and like 190 or something in Europe. Let's quickly talk about iPad. About this all new, all screen, all powerful, without headphone jack, by the way. Why? Because apparently there is no space, at least according to ATP podcast. Apparently they talk to some engineer and whatnot, and apparently there is no space in this giant iPad for 3.5mm jack. I could understand on the iPhone, okay, you actually want to remove cords because you're kind of outside, walking somewhere, doing some stuff. Yeah, maybe AirPods is not that bad. Although you have to live in a dongle world now. But on iPad, the thing that people use to make some music, where you actually need headphone jack. Some people DJing on those things. You need headphone jack, you need stable connection. Reliable connection, not dongle world. Plus you have a huge bump here with a camera on the back of it. Why can't you have a little bump for 3.5mm jack? Or again, make bezels a little bit thicker if you struggle to put 3.5 jack here. I really don't get this. And by the way, I don't know if you've seen this. There was a video, I think it was today, by Jerry Rig Everything. If you want to think that band gate of iPhone, I think it was 6, was a problem, go check his video. Because those things, new iPads, they bend like freaking paper. The dude applied just a bit of pressure somewhere in the midpoint of this iPad, of even not the biggest one, I think he had 11-inch one. And it just folded like a paper. It's insane that Apple's like design team is so shit. New Mac Minis, they cannot, well, now they can at least like retain base clock, I think. But they still like completely crushed by temperatures. Basically, they're running like 100 Celsius after just 5 seconds or something like this of intense loads. Granted, no, not even granted, there is no big GPU in Mac Minis. I have a Hackintosh that Hackintosh in a mini ITX case, Intel i5 8600K processor, and it is cooled by small cooler from Noctua L9i, I think. Small cooler. This cooler isn't even designed to cool my processor, because my processor is 95 watts TDP, and I overclocked it to 4.6 gigahertz under loads. And that cooler keeps the CPU around 80 degree. And Apple cannot design a solution that keeps cool. I think what they have, like 30 or 40 watt processor inside of the Mac Mini, maybe even smaller, I don't even know. But it's definitely not 95 watts or whatever. And they're $1 trillion company, they can't do it apparently. Plus, not to mention all of the shitty practices that Apple is doing behind the scene. Behind the scene, how they treat their buyers of their like parts and whatnot, how they treat repair shops, all of those people. They screw them in a big way. None of people really want to hear about this, how Apple uses like bad practice or whatever behind the scenes, but it's important. Don't incentivize them to do all of this bullshit. They put these T2 chips right now in even Mac Mini MacBooks. I think even might be in Mac Pro, not sure about that. And this T2 chip can actually forbid the computer to boot if it was repaired with a part that was not 100% that didn't come from authorized Apple reseller or from Apple like warehouse or whatever. What's happening, I think in Australia, repairs for like cracked screen on iPhone 10 cost, I think, like just $100 Australian dollars less than actually buying the whole new phone. And Apple all the time says how much they care about environment, how much they think about this, how much they try to make their products more environmentally friendly and all of this bullshit. Yet at the behind the scene, they're screwing over repair shops who first of all do things way faster than Apple, would do it way cheaper than Apple, and actually advocating for repairing stuff and not just trashing them, and you just go and buy a new machine basically, because the prices of repairs are so extremely expensive. Go watch the Louis Rossmann videos about all of the bullshit that Apple is doing. It's remarkable. It's truly remarkable. And again, tech YouTubers, they don't do enough to point those things. Basically, as far as I am concerned, as far as I know, Louis Rossmann might be actually the only person who actually talks about all of these things, who actually points at the bullshit that Apple is doing. I mean, right now you can even see, just a quick side note, that Apple will no longer reveal how many iPhones, iPads and Macs it sells, because they don't care. They don't want you to see that their sales actually slowing down. They don't want you to see it. Well, all they want you to see is money, because money are coming. They're like raining basically at this point. Apple is greedy as fuck. I mean, I use Apple products. But at this point, they're greedy as fuck. They're greedy as fuck. And they don't do good job of giving you good products with good usability. They don't do this anymore. And so again, what I wanted to say is that when you see, I don't know, MKBHD saying that, oh yeah, iPhone XR not that bad actually, fuck that shit. That's ridiculous. You shouldn't do it. I mean, he can do whatever the fuck he wants, but I'm just saying, in a general sense, you being a reviewer, you being kind of a journalist, you should hold some standards. If you see bullshit, you should call the bullshit. Not enough people do this. And so Apple, year after year after year, they're having great sales. I guess all I'm trying to say here is stop incentivizing Apple, or at least try not to incentivize Apple doing shit that they're doing. Be a bit smarter about it. Don't follow this ridiculous marketing bullshit that you need to buy new phones every year. Oh yeah, you need to go on update, like yeah, and especially if you have to buy them at full price or like at 500-600 whatever. I guess if you can go and pick it up because you have some sort of plans in America with some mobile carriers that you can kind of update, just adding like, I don't know, $50 more, 100 more, and you can update to the newest, latest model. Okay, I guess that's possible. They like, you should do it. But if you need to go and buy the model, don't do it. Just pick up some used phone. Pick up some refurbished phone. Show Apple with your own money that that's not good. That's not good what they're doing. That's not good when they're limiting features for just 1 year old phone. Only 1 year old phone, and you already screwed with camera, for example, and what the camera can do, because they're doing this intentionally. So you go and buy new latest 10S models. Don't do this. Don't follow this bullshit logic. Don't follow Apple's bullshit. You are smarter than this shit. Again, it's kind of a long rambling video. Sorry if it's too boring, sorry if it's too emotional, but I thought that not enough of those kinds of opinions are voiced, are presented. So, just saying, if, I don't know, if any of you will think about this one more time, just sit back for a second and think actually what Apple is doing, what kind of products they're giving you, for what kind of money. This is also very, very important, because not only that they're screwing you big time each and every year, but they also do it for more and more money each and every year. So again, just saying, think about it and make a wise decision, basically. That's all I want. Okay guys, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and see you next time. Take care.